What's up, guys? This is episode 6255, and this is a little reflection I did yesterday about the movie Search for Happiness. I had already done it a long time ago, but um, while reviewing some pages of my old notebook, I found it and I wanted to share with you guys, so that's it. A little reflection I did a long time ago about the movie Search for Happiness, which is the story of Chris Gardner, a famous broker. By the way, uh, what called the attention of me, the main virtue he had is that he doesn't complain and he doesn't get infuriated. He doesn't get angered as I do so easily. He just works diligently, hard. He works hard. You know, quote: "I am the type of person that if you ask a question that I don't know the answer, I'm gonna say that I don't know. But one thing I grant you, I know how to find the answer, and I will find the answer." Here, this this thing he says in the middle of an interview. He got arrested for not paying the bills because he didn't have no job. He spent all his time trying to get the job as a broker. You know, and he got arrested and he had to run to the building of the company to get into the interview, and he was all dirty of you know paint and with normal clothes, not a suit as it's expected in an interview as a broker in the 90s. But this, I guess, it guaranteed him his job in there. He risked everything for this job of broker, even without any money, literally any money, like $10, $14. He takes the responsibility of his own son because he divorced his wife. His wife actually divorced him because of the financial situation, and without complaining, without frustrating himself, without infuriating himself, he realized that he, at some point, while playing with his kid, he put his own frustrations because everything was, collapsing around him because of the financial situation. He ended up putting his frustration on his son in the basketball scene. Then he realizes that and he says, quote, "Never let anybody tell you you can't do something. Even myself, okay? If you have a dream, you have to go for it. People can't win and tell you can't win too. If you want something, go for it. Period." You know, and it says for himself. I don't need to comment further. It says everything for itself. Then later on the movie, there's the story of the ships. His 6 year old son tells a story about a guy that was drowning. He fell in the sea, and he, as I remember, he prayed to God to save him. Then a ship came and asked him, "You wanna come over and try to save him?" And he refused. He said, "No, God will save me." Then the ship uh, followed his path. Then another ship came and did the same thing, try to save him. And then he said, "No, God will save me." Then he ended up dying, drowning, as expected. Then he went to heaven and he asked God, "Why didn't you save me?" Then God said, "I sent two ships for you, you fool." And what's the most impressive is that, in theory, a 6 year old boy said that, told this story. But what we can learn with this is that God doesn't operate like we expect Him to do most of the times. We got to embrace every opportunity we have. You know. Then after that, in an office scene, he explained how he was working and how he was planning to get job, because either he got this job or everything would collapse. It was just plan A. And it's a very important thing that employees and people that that aren't extraordinary tell you to always have a plan B, to always have a plan B or C. You want to be an entrepreneur, you ain't have any college you want to do, but do this XYZ college, because if you give up, you can't follow your career. And his story, his example says the opposite. He didn't have any plan B, anything. He bet everything, all into this. And not just him, but every extraordinary person I know. Most of them didn't have this kind of plan B stuff. And in a scene, he explains, and it can be used in selling in real life, how selling is mathematical. He says X calls means X visits I can make. X visits means X clients, and X clients mean X money into my account. And it's literally that. So in the beginning of the funnel, the most calls you put, the most money you get in the ending of the funnel. Is literally that mathematical. And that's how he thought in the 90s, 30 years ago. And in a scene of lunchtime, he got ran over, literally. And even after being ran over and losing a shoe, he literally came back into the office with just one shoe. He lost it when he got ran over. And even after that, most of people would give up and just come back home. He wasn't obligated to do that, because it was just a test, like to see him, so everybody would compete for the job as a broker. He still came back, and in time. What's most impressive, even feeling despised and everything collapsing, he did every call with a smile on his face and in the most sympathetic way. He optimized his time up to the maximum to do in 6 hours what his competitors did in 9, because he had to get his child back from school without drinking water. And you can imagine how you can speak 6 hours straight without drinking any little water, without going to the bathroom either, and just complete total focus without standing from the chair. And there's a scene that in the least green signal of Walter Reben, I guess is a fictional name, I don't know. He did clearly everything, even everything collapsed. His boss asked him to park his car, and his car got attacks. Everything collapsed, but he gave clearly everything of himself to try to sell to this Walter Reben. And it's this diligence that make people extraordinary. That's my reflection of the movie Search for Happiness.